The beliefs of long, long ago are long, long dead. Let's propose that in an unfathomable, immeasurable period, an eon, era, or age, all men believed in one God, and one God alone. And He was their supreme, one and only Lord and Master, who they believed in wholly. They believed was the creator of all things seen in the night sky and in nature, all around them, the creator of all animal and water and sea life. In that immeasurable period, unfathomable period, they were one people, descendants of one tribe, who had descended from one original family, who had descended from one couple, who had descended from two parents, who had originated from one woman and man, born of one woman, as mitochondrial DNA proves that all men and women originated from one woman, a mitochondrial Eve, of one group of 100 or less peoples from one specific geographical location. This statement of fact can be found at sacredtext.com under the topic Africa. If all in that very beginning, before man was created by a higher intelligence, there was only a planet covered in water, in total darkness, and no land, therefore no life was upon it, then the intelligent designer brings forth land from those dark depths, and all life starts to exist. It starts to be created and exist. This land, all one earthly mass, not yet separated due to tectonic plates shifting, pushing against each other, forcing a crack which once opened causes volcanic eruptions and hot magma to flow, and so forth. Then all was once one land, not split apart, not separated, causing divisions of mass water, rivers, lakes, seas, oceans, and distance from other ground, from other areas or locations. If it proves true that in the beginning of creation, after men became or began to exist, at a certain time all men believed in one created God, and He was their supreme Lord Master, and they brought forth sons, daughters, they brought forth descendants, i.e. sons, daughters, who had children, who eventually had sons and daughters, who had sons and daughters, who had sons and daughters, and so on, down the centuries. These became separated perhaps due to migrating to better climates and conditions, opportunities, in order to thrive and survive. They possibly perverted, corrupted that original God-inspired belief system and the practices of it. Then others that came to their lands where they migrated to, they occupied their lands with them, side by side perhaps. These were their descendants, or their kin, their cousins, their relations, but they just weren't recognised because of the continual centuries of, or eras of, having children who had children who had children who had children. Okay? So you lose contact. You just don't know anyone anymore that you used to know. They're either long dead and forgotten, or you just can't remember who these people are and how they're related to, how they're kin to you. Okay, so these may have similar remnants of that original old God belief system, but over time had lost or forgotten that original way and how to honour, praise that one God, that Supreme Lord Master, that Creator. So adopted and adapted their own God or gods, and the people occupying the land that they came upon, they probably already did that as well. They either stuck to that one Supreme God, or passing it down verbally, or they completely forgot it over time, because that's how Chinese whispers works. One says this, and then the one on the end says something completely different. So over time they may have changed due to losing the original stories, unless, like the Jews, they passed it on verbally, they chanted it or sang it and so forth before they actually wrote it down. So, which seems illogical that they had word for word exact. They had to be very, very precise. They'd have to be really, really professional and know how to do that. One mistake and you'd end up having a completely different story centuries later or ages later. So perhaps these other people reminded them of their first God, their Lord, their Supreme Master, and his commandments, precepts, etc., etc., the original teachings. But his ways became boring, stagnant, and other people's gods, new gods, became more appealing, exciting, because it is common knowledge man gets bored with the same old, and needs excitement, pizzazz, entertainment, as he's a thrill seeker. It's in his human psyche, and really detests the mundane, the boring. He needs to spice things up a little bit. It's a fact, it's reality, it's a part of the human psyche, human makeup. If you don't believe that as fact or true, try living in a house all alone, all by yourself, no other people living there, completely alone, isolated, no one to talk to, doing the same old 24/7, 365 for days, weeks, months on end. We guarantee you will be climbing the walls in less than a month, and will want to break out and will seek others for social contact, interaction, conversation, entertainment, excitement, fun, laughs, etc. Because you're a social being, a social animal. You thrive on social interaction and contact, right? Everyone does. Why do you think people go mad living up in the hills, living in a cave by themselves? Because they've had no human contact for years. So in reality, men may not have sinned, they may have just rebelled. They didn't conform, because the authority, the enforcement to follow set fixed rules, moral ethics, precepts, principles, laws, commands, this and that or the other, became monotonous, stagnant, boring, and men, women and children simply wanted to live a little, loosen up, have fun with their friends, party and be childlike again, for they'd see the children without a care in the world, frolicking, playing, laughing, having fun, so they wanted to be just like them, worrying, carefree, and some carefree. But an extreme commander, leader, second in command, directed by the God, a self-appointed leader, often it's found. Sure, they weren't conforming, so he strove to keep them bound via these stringent laws, commands, precepts, morals, etc. Their inner circle or tribe or clan often did fall apart, because these tribes weren't being controlled, limited, herded into a pen like livestock, i.e. in some weren't conforming, So all were threatened verbally, physically, mentally, even spiritually by the god or the gods via their self-appointed leaders. These leaders were self-appointed, because if you look at the book of Tacitus, the histories, where it talks about the Jews in Egypt and why they were ousted because there was a plague, and supposedly these Hebrew Israelites had this plague in their testes because they had pigs in the house, pigs in the same room. They ate with the pigs, etc., etc., like these dirty as animals. The Egyptians couldn't stand pigs, so they're such a dirty animal. They rolled in their own muck and then eat it, all this sort of stuff. And there's just too many of them populating, right? Too many children being born and stuff like that, and too much noise being made at nights, early mornings. So they kicked them all out. The king at the time, Ahmose, possibly said, "Well, that's enough. Egypt for Egypt. Let's get him out of here." So he booted them out. And then this leader, this guy Moses, or Moises, according to the Tacitus histories, said, Tacitus was saying that he heard stories of that this Moises really wanted to be a leader. Okay, he wanted to lead people. So these people were ousted out of Egypt. They were in the desert, they had no water, they had no food, and they were whining and carrying on. And he said, "Look, I'd like to be your leader, I'd love to be your leader." And they said, "Well, if you can help us out of our current problem, well then, yeah, sure, we'll make you the leader." So he's wandering around, and he happens to see all these rams, all these wild goats or something coming down this hill. So he wondered where they all came from. So he went over this hill, looked down, and there's this massive oasis. There's water there, so he said, "Hey, look, there's water here, and palms and dates and all this sort of stuff, right?" And he basically saved them, so they made him as a leader. But then he turns around. If you have a look in the Tacitus histories, it actually states this is what he was told, or this is what he heard. Moises said to these people that he was now going to lead, "Don't put your trust in any god or any man, because what have they done for you?" Okay? And then he had this horn that they blow, the Jews use to announce the Sabbath or the Seder or whatever it is, their festivals and so forth. And that's why they don't eat the pig, because this is what a practicing Jew told us, that they roll around in their muck and they eat it. So they're disgusting. Plus they got the 10 Commandments, the Mosaic law that says, don't eat this animal with this kind of hoof, or open hoof, or animal that does this, because it's a crap eater. Like talking about the bottom of the ocean fish, creatures that clean up all the dead bodies and stuff like that. Those are basically the cockroaches of the sea. So they told you don't eat those. Vultures and all this sort of stuff, because they're the ones who basically feed on the dead corpses and all this sort of stuff. Don't eat this insect because it basically cleans up the remains, the rotting carcasses and all this sort of stuff. It's all dirty. So they refrain from that. It's called kosher. Right? They don't eat anything according to those Levitical commandments or those Mosaic commandments, the 613 laws and all this sort of stuff found in the Mishnah, Talmud, Torah, and so forth. So maybe these people didn't really sin, they just rebelled, so that was considered sin because they transgressed those fixed commandments, laws, precepts, morals, principles put upon them by a self-appointed leader, saying, the God said, or the God said, and this is the reason why you're going through all these punishments and curses and plagues and all this sort of stuff. Okay, so And that's why everything's inflicted on you by the god or their gods. How did they, the people, know a real unseen, unknown God was administering justice, punishment upon them for disobedience, transgressions, iniquities, or sins, as often referred to? Told them, well, this is why this is happening, because you've angered the gods, the God. Yeah. So these people often didn't see this God in action, or these gods in action. They just were being whipped and punished, put to death by this self-appointed leader or his cronies that he put in charge, right? Okay, so this is the result as to why you people have a poor harvest, floods, lightning, strikes, earthquakes, famines, because of the God or the gods. They're angry, so do this, do that, for him to forgive you, to show you mercy, and when he's happy again, he'll restore all great things to you, to all. Oh, and don't forget to give me 25% of your growth harvest. You put yourself through those pains and efforts, etc., to grow. Okay, just give me my 25% of that to come. Oh yeah, don't forget to pay me a tax, fee, rent, etc., as I'm your direct connection to God or those gods. Okay, as he points to the gods of stone, wood, or the thunder crackling above. If you don't, there'll be heaps more plagues that'll come upon you. Okay, so over the centuries, men corrupted, perverted their religious belief systems, their methods, even their gods' images, by adding extra arms, legs, making them out to be half man, half fish, or half horse, half man, whatever, and all colours of the rainbow: green, blue, black, red, for this or that excuse or explanation as to why they're that colour. You always got to give a reason. Oh, why is that mythical god green? Oh, it's because, oh, wasn't he a reptile? No. He was green because, right? Or he was blue because, okay, when he originally looked, could have been a extraterrestrial from outer space, i.e. a reptilian. There's always those who will defend him and hide that truth if he actually was. But he looks a hell of a like a reptilian. Look, he's green. He's got the eyes of a lizard. He's got this tongue hanging out, like a snake. No. He's not a reptilian. But he's still mythical. No. He is a real god. But it's all mythical. No. He's a real god. The evidence says he's mythical. It's a myth. Oh yeah, but he was a real god. Oh my gosh. Just going to get through to some people, right? Okay. So the original leaders were long dead. Their gurus, their prophets, etc., and could no longer direct them correctly on their divinely inspired true path that they received while spending half their life in a cave or on a mountain, talking to this god or talking to their gods, you know, having visions and all this sort of stuff. So that long dead leader wasn't around, but he left writings. There were supposedly writings he had left behind. So over time, men possibly corrupted, perverted them because they forgot or lost the originals. So they recreated them all, reconstructed them all, adopted and adapted others, fitted it into their neo-religious belief system, their newly reformed or recreated, adopted and adapted religion, right, etc. And if the original founder, prophet, saviour came back to life, and he went amongst them to see, oh, what's my people up to? Why are they still following my teachings? He'd more or less pull out his hair, he'd scold them, probably whip them, and tell them, hey, that's not what I originally taught, you scoundrel, what the hell? I didn't tell you to worship me as a god. This is what Buddha said. Okay, he's not a god. He's a man like everybody else. Okay. So those like Buddha, Gautama Buddha, Jesus, Moses, Abraham, Muhammad, Baha'i, etc., if they came back today and they looked at what their supposed adherents, their disciples, their followers, etc., were doing, they'd probably go nuts, right? And give them a hell of a lecture. I didn't teach you that. That's not what I wrote. What the hell is this? You've got an image of me with 4 arms and blue. I'm not a smurf. Things like that. So let's go back into those past long lost ages, those millenniums, and look at the various religions and see exactly how much they've wandered away from their original religion, their traditions, their rites, their texts, their holy writ, their scriptures, etc. Let's compare it with then, and let's compare it with what they are up to today. Won't you join us? If you liked this video, then subscribe to our channel, give us a like, add your comments below, and then share this video and our other videos with all your family, friends, neighbours, church friends, and others. Here is a chart of the world religions. This is actually quite old, so it would be out of date. This was like one done in 2007, and it's estimate, right? These are all the different religions in the world, and there's a percentage. Atheists 2.32%, non-religious 11.77%. We actually saw a more up-to-date chart which said about 14% today. Other religions 11.78%. Buddhist, Hindu, Muslim, Anglicans and other Christians, Protestants, Orthodox and Catholics. So it looks like Catholicism is quite popular there, and then Islam, but today it's like Islam is probably the one that everybody's running to, right? It's probably the most predominant, with Christianity following behind. Okay, so on this side he's got Jews 23%, Sikhs 35%, Baha'i about 12%. It hasn't got Hebrew Israelites or anybody else like that, because they're just like offshoots, cults and movements, groups that have been formed over the last century. Okay, so if you enjoyed this video, subscribe to us, give us a like, add your comments below the video, get back to you on those, and then go share this video with all you know. Thank you for taking time to watch this, our latest uploaded video, created and uploaded. We will continue by looking into the various secular religions as well as the 3 organized religions to see how they were originally in ancient millennia, centuries and centuries ago, thousands and thousands of years ago, and as well as the 3 major organized religions: Judaism, Christianity and Islam, in their branch offs, or the offshoots.